Hello, and welcome to my Beatles YouTube channel. If you like the Beatles, please make sure you subscribe and you check out my other videos because you're definitely gonna find them interesting. This is the second episode of a new series called Song Secrets of the Beatles, in which we analyze every single Beatles song one episode at a time. Every episode is divided in 5 sections: the story behind the song, in the studio, decoding the lyrics, breaking down the music, and legacy and impact. Today's song is P.S. I Love You. The song was released on the 5th of October 1962 as the B-side of the Beatles' debut single Love Me Do. P.S. I Love You was later included in the Beatles' debut album Please Please Me in 1963 and in the American album Introducing the Beatles in 1964. The song was also included in the 1965 album The Early Beatles and the 1977 compilation album called Love Songs. So, let's go ahead with our first section. This is
the story behind the song, behind the song.
The story behind the song. The song was written by Paul McCartney when they were in Hamburg. The song is written as a letter, and many people think it was dedicated to Paul McCartney's girlfriend at the time called Dot Ron. However, Paul McCartney denied this. He said it was just an idea for a song. He said there are certain themes that are easier to hang a song on, and a letter is one of them. He said the song was mostly his, and he didn't think John Lennon had much of a hand in it. John Lennon agrees. He remembers the song as being Paul's. He said Paul was trying to write a Soldier Boy song in the style of the Shirelles. So, let's go ahead with our next section called
In the studio, recording the song.
P.S. I Love You was recorded in 10 takes on the 11th of September 1962 at EMI Studios, of course now called Abbey Road Studios, in London. Producer George Martin booked session musician Andy White as a replacement for Peter Best, the original drummer of the Beatles, because he didn't consider Pete Best to be good enough technically as a drummer for studio work. George Martin had been unaware that the Beatles had already found themselves a new drummer, another guy from Liverpool they had previously shared the stage with in Hamburg called Ringo Starr. So session musician Andy White played drums in P.S. I Love You while Ringo Starr just played maracas. Andy White was an experienced session drummer and he gave the recording a lightweight cha-cha treatment. Producer George Martin was not present and the session was run by Ron Richards. Richards told the group they couldn't have the song as the A-side of the single because of an earlier song with the same title. He had also worked in music publishing as a plugger, and so he told the band you can have it as the B-side but not as the A-side. So for the session we have Paul McCartney on lead vocals and bass, John Lennon acoustic guitar and backing vocals, George Harrison acoustic guitar and backing vocals, Ringo Starr maracas, and Andy White on drums. The engineer was Norman Smith. Hi, sorry to interrupt the video. Just a very quick, very important announcement. I published a book. That's right, I published a book. It's called From the Cavern to Abbey Road, a journey through the Beatles' iconic landmarks. In this book, we see the story of the Beatles from the places where everything happened. Some of them are famous, like let's say Abbey Road Studios, and some of them perhaps not so famous, like for example the art gallery where John and Yoko met. I put a lot of work and effort into this book, and it would help me so much if you grabbed a copy. It's available on Amazon all around the world, so if you want your copy, please go to the link in the description. Thank you. Now back to the video. So let's go ahead with our next section.
This is decoding the lyrics.
The lyrics of P.S. I Love You express longing and devotion. Written as a heartfelt letter, the repeated P.S. I Love You adds a personal touch, while the promise to return home highlights enduring love despite the distance. It's a tender and relatable early Beatles song. Next section. This is
Breaking down the music, breaking down the music, breaking down the music, breaking down the music, breaking down the music.
it's me from the future. I forgot to add something really important about the harmony of P.S. I Love You. The song is in the key of D, and it starts on the 4th grade of the scale, which is G, and then goes back to D, which is the 1st grade. As I write this letter once more, send my love to you once more. Remember that I always. And now we go D, A, D. So 1st, 5th, and back to 1st, because the 5th, which is A, always wants to resolve. So always wants to go back to D. Be in love with you. You see, it's like. And now we go to my favorite bit, and where the harmony gets more interesting. So now we start introducing some minor chords. The minor chords always tend to be a little bit more sad than the major chords. It's not necessarily always the case. It's not like major equals happy and minor equals sad. But just to give you an idea, this is a D major and this is D minor. You see? Treasure these few words till we're together. Keep my love forever. So beautiful. And now it gets even more interesting because we do something that no one has ever done before in pop music. The Beatles' early influences went far beyond early rock and roll music. They listened to a lot of jazz and Broadway music as well. And they took some of the complexity from that kind of music into pop music, albeit subconsciously because they didn't know music theory at all. So at the end of this bridge, the song goes, P.S. I love you. Right, I'll do it once more. P.S. I love you. And then it repeats. You. So in the key of D, the 6th grade of the scale is B, not B flat. However, here we're going out of the scale and doing B flat, so flat 6, and then 7th, which in the key of D, the 7th grade of the scale should be a diminished chord, but here we're doing a major chord, which is C. And that takes us back to the 1st grade of the scale, which is D. So we are left with this very particular sound, which makes the melody. You. This sequence has been used in pop music ever since. For example, Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. But the Beatles did it first on their first release, P.S. I Love You, in 1962. And let's go ahead with our last section. And finally, this is legacy and impact. As we said, P.S. I Love You was released as the B-side of Love Me Do, which was the first Beatles single, and it reached number 17 on the UK singles chart. Although this doesn't seem like much compared to the other songs the Beatles released after Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You, it was amazing for the Beatles at the time, and they were very, very excited. I couldn't find many famous covers of the song, and of course it's definitely not one of the most famous songs by the Beatles, but I think the songwriting is very, very clever and very mature for the time. Remember, Paul McCartney wrote this song in 1962 when they were still in Hamburg. So I think in this song, which is only the B-side of their first single, you can already hear that the Beatles had a lot more to offer. So this is pretty much it for now. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also follow me on Facebook or Instagram. You can buy my book, that would be great actually. Or the free option is just to subscribe to this YouTube channel and maybe click the bell icon so you're the first to know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Well, I'm afraid that's us run out of time.
Oh,
I'm really
okay.
sorry.
Oh,
So,
bye everyone.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I give my heart to you, I must be sure from the very start that you